A little bit about me is my name is Delia Zuniga. I'm based out of Southern California in Orange County. I'm actually went from a citizen developer to a Power Platform solution architect. And in fact, the solution that I will be demoing today actually started by a very simple prompt in my very, very early days. So it's definitely been a full circle moment to now be here and demoing the solution that we've been able to build today. So I'm also very involved in the community. I have learned and gained so much from everyone in the community. So I'm so fortunate to be able to be in a spot where now I can contribute back and give back. So I'm a member of the leadership team on the Women in Power. I'm the events subcommittee lead and a mentor. If you want to be involved, we have actually our signups open now. I also contribute to the community through my blog and YouTube channel, GitHub, and Sessionize. And I will also be there at the Microsoft M365 conference next week. So if you will be there, feel free to send me a message on Whova. I would love to meet up. All right. So a little bit of context. The demo that I'll be showing us today is AI for change managers, mainly the change impact command center. And so I want to provide a little bit of context before I actually show you the solution. So I'm a consultant and our firm manages or helps our clients manage change through, oftentimes they're going through large digital transformations, whether that is implementing Workday or Oracle, or simply moving away from their homegrown legacy systems that they've been in for the last 20, 30 years. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of changes happening and a lot of impacted stakeholders that need to be aware of those changes to their role, their responsibilities, any policies that might be changing, processes. All of that needs to be communicated in a very thoughtful and targeted way so that people don't feel overwhelmed. And if we're able to do our job well, then it's only going to help the adoption, because oftentimes our projects can be multi-year projects. So consider all of that time and effort going into building, the new solution, and then no one adopts it. It's like planning a wedding, investing a lot of money and time and then forgetting to send out the invitations, right? It's not something that you typically want to do. And so that's where our change management consultants come into play. We're there to help identify all of those changes. So defining what the current system looks like and what the future system is going to look like, and defining that delta, that difference between the current state and the future state, that is what a change impact is. And so as change management consultants, our job is to define what those change impacts are, understand what they are, who they're impacting, and then put a plan together so that we can address those in a timely and efficient and effective way, whether that's through communications, training, enablement sessions, workshops, coaching, anything of that nature. But oftentimes, and the way that we're able to surface these change impacts is by sitting in on discovery sessions or design sessions that are often led by our functional teams. Now, oftentimes our change consultants don't always have the knowledge and deep expertise that our functional teams have. And so it might be a little bit difficult for our change team to really understand the changes that are happening, to really understand what the current state looks like, what the future state is going to look like, to define what those change impacts are. And so some of the pain points that we encountered prior to this solution is we don't always have the resources or the team members to have attend all of these design sessions or discovery sessions, because on these multi-year projects, we can very well have about 5 to 10 sessions a week. And oftentimes our change team might be small and mighty, and we just don't have the time to be able to sit on all of those sessions. So resource constraints was definitely a big pain point. Also, inconsistent identification of change impacts. Sometimes if our change team was not able to attend the calls, we were dependent on our functional teams to help identify what those change impacts are. And so sometimes they don't, our functional team, because their expertise lies elsewhere, they may have missed some change impacts throughout some sessions. And then once we're able to actually identify what those change impacts are, it was taking a lot of time to dispositioning them and really analyzing them in a way to truly understand how we can address them. And then, of course, manually performing a stakeholder analysis, understanding who is impacted, which stakeholder groups are undergoing the most change, so that we can give them more attention to to help them through that change. So all of these were pain points that we were struggling with. And all of this was really all of the leading up to the point where our expertise really is supposed to come in, where we go and manage the change. And so what the solution now does is it really streamlines the 2/3 of this process, the identification, the analysis, and getting recommendations on how to address it, so that our change team can now focus on what they do best, is being there for the people and helping them go through all the changes that they're going through. So the solution that we came up with is the Change Impact Command Center. We use a multi-agent architecture here, where we have 2 child agents. One is dedicated to the data collection piece, so dedicated to intaking meeting transcripts, because that's the way that we're able to get the most detail. Ingesting those transcripts, identifying what the change impacts are based on the ADKAR model, and then having a separate child agent that's focused on the insights, so the analysis of it. So now that we have all that data, what are some insights that we can surface from there? Where can we maybe identify some gaps? Where can we get some recommendations so that we know how to best be there for all impacted stakeholders? And so what I used here is a simple SharePoint list to log all of our change impacts with recommended intervention types, with statuses, the current state and future state if it was able to be picked up by the transcript. And then we also use a simple Power Automate flow, where we're running a prompt that has a lot of detail around the ADKAR model and how to define change impacts. We can also add additional context around the type of project, so it fully understands the type of changes that it can expect to surface from the meeting transcripts. And then we have the Change Impact Command Center. That's that screenshot on the bottom right corner, is the first welcome screen, right? We provide suggested prompts to help guide our users really understand what this agent does and how it can help them, by giving them some suggested prompts to kickstart their journey. So let's see it in action. Given that this was my first demo, I did not want to leave anything to chance. I have a conversation here staged that I'll walk us through. So at the very beginning, we help inform our end users what this agent does. So we provide a little bit of context saying, hey, I'm the command center. This is what I can help you with. I can ingest transcripts to identify change impacts. I can log those to the registry. I can help summarize, prioritize, even generate communications for you. Just take a look at the suggested prompts, and then the agent will take it from there. And so from here, I told the agent, okay, I want you to analyze a transcript. And initially, I had the agent and the user going back and forth, was collecting some information. But then I remembered, we're consultants, we're time poor, we need things quickly and fast. And so I said, this is a great opportunity to use an adaptive card. So here we have an adaptive card where our team can simply select what work stream they're part of, input a meeting title, meeting date, and then just paste in their transcripts. We're not dependent on the format the transcript is coming in. The team just simply needs to copy all of the text and paste it in there and click submit. The agent says, great, I got it. This might take a little bit, and then what the user will receive is a link to the registry where they can then go back and review all of the information, because as we know, human in the loop is very important. So when our team clicks on that link, it takes them over to the SharePoint list that lives in the project team channel. So everything is centrally located for that particular project. And so as you can see here, some things that we capture through that prompt and is the impact description. So what workstream, meeting title, and meeting date is pulled from the adaptive card. What stakeholders might be impacted, whether it's everyone or particular stakeholder groups, the ADKAR stage, and then also defining the current state and future state, which, as you recall, is a really important way for us to define what those changes are. And then what the agent also gives us is a recommended intervention type. So based on this information, I recommend you address this through communications or training or something like that. And then it provides us some information on any additional recommended action details, priority, so on and so forth. And then from here, we can always filter through this data, but then I can actually go back to my agent and I can continue the conversation there, right? I can ask the agent, this looks great, but I need your help in summarizing all high priority change impacts, and grouping them by the ADKAR stage, stakeholder group, and include how many impacts we have. And now the agent is going to go back to that SharePoint list, read through all the data, and pull all of this information that I asked it for in a nice, concise, digestible way. So here I have some key themes that were surfaced, impacts grouped by ADKAR stage, because that was the way that I asked the agent to give me the output in. I have impacts by stakeholder groups. So this also helps our team identify, okay, AP clerks are actually going through a lot of changes. They have way more changes than any other stakeholder groups. Again, we might want to give them a little bit more attention or just have more targeted and more effective ways of addressing those impacts. And then the agent also gives our team some recommended next actions. And then from here, I can continue with this information conversation, right? Because the agent has all of the data, and now it has also been trained to be able to help surface insights and recommendations. So here I can say, great, show me all the impacts with the intervention type of communications. Again, bringing in that information. And then I can continue here and ask the agent to help generate some of that communication. So it says, yeah, and it also anticipates my next move, right? I had asked it about communication, so it's anticipating my next move and asking me, great, do you want me to help you with drafting these communications? And I say, yes, absolutely. Please draft communications for the payroll team announcement, and it does exactly that. So it pulls all of the details from the meeting transcripts, from any other change impacts that have been collected across all of our other sessions, pulling that in to write me a nice email that I can now send out. And I think what's really important here is this agent has been trained to think as a change management consultant. And something that we often refer to is answering the question of what's in it for me, right? So why is this important for me to know and to read through right now? And some of those aspects are incorporated into this communication, right? So what's changing for you? Why is this important for me? It's clearly defining the old process to the new process. So these small little things are incorporated to all of the communication. So our team simply just needs to bring this into an email or creating a flyer or whatever way that we want to deliver it, and maybe just make some small tweaks here and there. So this is actually an agent that we have deployed to our projects and our team is using. And as you can see, it has definitely saved our team a lot of time, a lot of manual effort in just the collection aspect. So then we can then focus on actually addressing the change and being there for the people going through all of these changes. So with that, thank you everybody for having me. And David, back to you.